definitely want to make a longer video about this. So in Genesis chapter 2, verse 2, we see that Yah established it from the beginning. Just in the verse, and on the seventh day he rested from all of his work. That word work breaks down to his workmanship, his creation, his property. You and I, all of creation, the animals, this world is Yah's property. He is the workman. He's the one that created it. So only the workman can repair something that he created, because he's the only one that knows how to fix it. He's the only one that has the ability to rectify and to repair what we broke. Okay, so he sends himself, or his son in Hebrew breaks down to the continuation of the house, the one that continues on the work of the house. So we know that he gave all authority, all dominion, all power to Yahusha, just as he gave all dominion and authority to Adam. That's why we call Yahusha the second Adam. Now an example of this you can see in, I believe it's 2 Chronicles, I'll put the scriptures here, where in the reign of Josiah, they're trying to fix the temple because they have been walking in error this whole time, unbeknownst to them, just in ignorance and just following tradition. And he says, and they put it in the hand of the workman who had oversight over the house of Yahuah. So again, authority, oversight, the one who has charge over the house of Yahuah, that is to repair and amend the house. Yahusha is the one that Yahuah put the oversight, the charge, the authority over all of his house. And we can see in John 17 where Yahusha is praying to Yahuah, and he's literally saying, everything that you have is mine, everything that I have is yours, everything you have given me, everything that you made. These people are yours, and they are now mine because you gave them to me, because they have believed that I am your son. They have believed that you sent me. He's like, you gave me all dominion over this. In Isaiah, so like I was saying, in Isaiah, I have the chapter here, I'll post it here. We have Yahuah telling Isaiah that I will commit my government into his hands. I will gird him with my girdle. I will commit my government to him. So again, we're seeing this prophecy, right? And I want to take us all the way back to Samuel. Okay, well, there's no kings established at this point. Samuel is not even born yet. This is his mother's prayer, his mother's prophetic prayer. In the prayer, Hannah is getting this prophetic download in the midst of her prayer and her praise, where she's saying that Yahuah, your king, you have anointed and exalted his horn. And I'm just like, okay, we don't have a king. But again, we have a king. Yahuah said that he was going to be the one that reigned over us. He was going to be our king. And how did he manifest that? Through Yahusha the Messiah. So in this prayer, she's saying his king, his anointed, his exalted is going to reign. And so if you can see all these different pieces, but again, back to Genesis chapter 2, the beginning of the matter, the fact that Adam and Eve were created to have dominion and authority over everything that Yahuah created. He said, I'm resting from all of my work. I now commit this authority into your hands. Your job is to continue on my establishment as my firstborn. Okay? But they broke the covenant. They were disobedient. So they got kicked out of the rest. That rest that people keep talking about. Oh, we don't have to give a Sabbath because we have rest. No, Sabbath was established before there was even a breaking of the covenant. There was always rest. The seventh day, the Sabbath, is a reminder of the oath of the promise of Yah finishing his work. So Yahusha came to reestablish this rest, to fix what we broke, so we can to fix what we had broken. And so we keep seeing this repetitive process where, Adam broke it, and then, things went all crazy. Noah was the only righteous one. Shem and Ham and Japheth, they went all crazy. Yah found a righteous man within the line of Shem. And then we get the story of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and the children of Yasharel, Israel. Our ancestors were called to be the people that brought all the nations into Israel to learn the ways of Yahuah. But what happened? Instead of Israel drawing all nations unto Yah, we were drawn to the other nations, and it got us in trouble. Continue to break the covenant over and over and over again. We were supposed to be the firstborn. Yahuah constantly says in his word that Israel is my firstborn. We messed up. So what did he have to do? Through the line that he chose of his firstborn, through Judah, he brought forth Yahusha to be So Yahusha is the one that then now brings forth the restoration, the recovery, the amending, the healing for one, Israel, because the covenant is only with Israel. You cannot get into New Jerusalem if you are not a part of Israel. So first, Yahusha had to rectify and restore all of Israel back unto Yahuah. And then he did the work that we were supposed to do by drawing all nations unto his Father through the belief in him and keeping the ways of the Father. You cannot get around keeping the covenant. You cannot get around being obedient. That is for everybody. It's always been the same. Yahuwah did not come and usurp anything. Okay, he is a continuation of his Father. He is a continuation of everything that Yahuwah has established and set, which is when you look upon him, you are seeing Yahuwah. And I want to give you examples of this because it's not something new. When Abraham saw the three angels of him to visit him, what did he do? He bowed. He showed reverence. He showed reverence, but this reverence was not seen as idol worship, as if he was worshiping something or someone other than Yahuwah. Another example of this, my sister Huda, she mentioned that she was like, how did Yah manifest himself for the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt in a pillar of fire? Do we worship pillars of fire as Yah? No. Okay, now cloud by day, do we worship Yah as a, when we look at the clouds? Do we say that he's in the clouds, that he's the cloud? No. Another example of this. Moses, Yahuwah told Moses, I'm going to make you like Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron will be your prophet. So a lot of us be like, oh yeah, Moses was this great man, this prophet, this mouthpiece of Yah. But out of Yahuwah's own mouth, he's telling Moses, when the people look at you, they're going to see Elohim. They're going to see God. And Aaron is going to be your mouthpiece. So if Moses is God, Aaron is the prophet. So at this point, we see that Yah is deferring his authority to Moses. Not defer, but he extended his authority to Moses. Which is why in Hebrews, we hear Paul talk about Moses was a servant, like faithful to Yahuwah. But Yahusha is a son faithful to his father's house. So we're seeing this, usually a greater than Moses has come. What can be greater than Moses, who was the stand-in of Yahuwah out of Yahuwah's own mouth? Then the one who is the son, who has the full authority of the father's house as a son, the one that continues on the house, the establishment, the instruction, the foundation of what his father said. Nothing that comes from Yahusha is outside of Yahuwah. That's why they are one. He constantly says, if you see me, you seen the Father. Me and my Father are one. When we accept Yahusha and we believe on him, we become one with Yahusha, then we become one with Yah, because his spirit is one. You cannot separate his spirit. Yah is spirit. Yahuwah is spirit, and he will be worshipped in spirit and in truth. That's the word. Yahuwah is not a man. He is not a pillar of fire. He is not a cloud. He's not a man, so he can't lie. No one has looked upon the Father's face and lived. No one has seen Elohim. Like, we have not seen the full extent of Elohim. Like, he said the earth is his footstool. That's a lot. That is a lot. Just his footstool. The entirety of his creation is just his footstool. So you cannot see all of Yah and survive, which is why we are working to be transformed to be the spirit beings. Okay, so Yah can dwell and walk among us without being disgusted at all of our sin, which is Yahusha being the atonement, the covering. Okay, so this last point, okay, this is gonna help me. Okay, so I watch a lot of doctor shows, and there's always like the really, really good surgeon who's so talented. Like, their hands are just saving lives left and right. But the person, people hate the doctor. This doctor is the worst bedside manner. They're rude, they're crass, they're vindictive, but you can't deny them hands. You can't deny the talents in these hands, right? So people are like, oh my gosh, the doctor's so talented, but I hate the doctor. And that's how a lot of people treat Yahuwah. Y'all love the work of his hand. Y'all love his right hand, his saving, his power, his authority to save and to heal you and to deliver you, but you don't want him. The difference is you can't do that. You have to, in order to accept Yahusha, his saving, his deliverance, the power that comes from Yah, you have to acknowledge and accept the whole entirety of Yahuwah. Because when you don't do that, you create an idol. They want to cut the hand off and they want to bury the rest of the body. Like, they don't want any parts of Yahuah, the Father, the Almighty. They don't want any parts of Yahuah Zavawoah. They only want Yah's salvation. They only want Yah's deliverance. They only want Yah's prosperity. They don't want the Elohim. They don't want Yahuah who says that if you love me, you keep my commandments. They don't want the Yahuah that says, I want devotion. I want you to serve me and love me with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. They don't want that Elohim. They just want the salvation, but they don't want the responsibility of being in covenant, which is crazy. Yah has the best personality. He has the best standards, but y'all still only want his hands. Shout out to my Akoti Latanya, my sister Latanya. When we pray, she always would say this thing like, Father, let us seek your face and not your hand. Because that's like, man, seek ye first the kingdom and all things will be added. If you're seeking Yah's ways and his righteousness, salvation is there. Healing is there. Deliverance is there. Health, healing, prosperity is there. But a lot of times, it goes back into our Bible study we did about Jacob and Esau, about the birthright and the blessing. A lot of y'all just want the blessing. Y'all want the blessings of Abraham, but you don't want the birthright responsibility that is attached to the blessing. Y'all a whole bunch of little bratty children out here. I'm saved. I'm redeemed. I'm going to heaven. Like, I'm a new creature. But you're not, though, because you don't want to be in the house and you don't want to be obedient to the house rules, to the Father. You don't actually want to be a part of Yasharah. You don't want to be a part of New Jerusalem. You just want the saving salvation.